Kakadosh Boker Tov. We're continuing with halachot of Sefirat HaOmer, and now we get to Lag BaOmer. You know that tonight is Lag BaOmer, so therefore he says over here as follows: the day of Lag BaOmer is a Yom Simcha v'Chedva. It's a day of happiness for the kavod of the Tana Rebbi Shimon bar Yochaï, which is the Yilulav Rebbi Shimon bar Yochaï. There's even simuchim in the psukim, and there is a minhag to actually do a special limud. We know that there's even a special tefillah. The Ben Ish Chai has even an entire special book about what to say, which brings down basically Shimon bar Yochaï everywhere where he's brought down, whether it's going to be in the Gemarot and the Mishnayot, right? And you actually, there's a limud in order to do, this is lichvod Rabbi Shimon bar Yochaï, which is all going to be throughout, whether it's Shas and the Zohar HaKadosh. So he says it's a very minhag yafeh, it's a very nice minhag. They also have the minhag of listening to music, right, on the night of Lag BaOmer, on the day during the Lag BaOmer. Now the reasoning for this simcha is because on this day, the Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva, they stopped dying. So here it says, Kimat legamre. Why? Because if you remember, we still do Avelut until the 34th, which means that until the 34th, even on the 34th, they still died. Right? But it's Kima, it almost finished. Right? This we already brought down on Shabbat, if you remember. Another reason brought down is because now, it wasn't because they stopped dying on the past, but rather it's on the future. On this day was the day that he actually came and he started teaching Torah to his new students, the 5 new students, which one of them is Rabbi Mimi Balanes that we just had on Sunday, on Pesach Sheni, and the other one, which is going to be Rabbi Shimon bar Yochaï, which we're going to have for tomorrow. He says, not only now did he start teaching them on Lag BaOmer, this is the day that they received the rabbinical ordinance, where they received their semicha as well. So he says, the secrets of the Torah have been revealed. So he says, so we already mentioned that on the night of Lag BaOmer, and the next day we have a minhag of listening to music, kol sheken, then if it's going to be from a tape, lichvod Rabbi Shimon bar Yochaï, and you're allowed to listen even with kli shir, which means even with musical instruments, lichvod Rabbi Shimon bar Yochaï. The same halacha would apply to a person in his house, and also on Motzei Lag BaOmer, you're also allowed to listen to music. Because once it was already permitted, so now that's it, it's permitted, which means like this. Technically speaking, if you think about it, 1 second. When are we only going to be cutting our hair? So even though the minhag of Morocco and Tunisia was like the Ramah, which means that it was like to do it on Lag BaOmer, but Maran says Lad BaOmer. Lad BaOmer does not mean in the nighttime of Lad BaOmer, it means in the morning of Lad BaOmer. So after Shachrit on Lamed Daled in the Omer, right, we come and we cut our hair. Now the thing is, 1 second, that means that there's still Avelut until Lamed Daled. Miktzat Hayom Kikulo means that part of the day is considered the entire day, so you do Lamed Daled in the morning. So now 1 second, if I'm listening to Lag BaOmer, let's say Lag BaOmer is an exception to the rule. What does it mean, exception to the rule? Okay, it's a special day, Lag BaOmer. But that means Motzei Lag BaOmer, which is Lamed Daled, the nighttime, you should go back into Avelut until the next morning. And then the next morning, that's when you should come, right, and be able to start listening to music again. But it says here, which means once we started with permission to come and to start listening to music on Lag BaOmer, whether it's tonight or tomorrow, so therefore just for that night of the Lamed Daled, we're not going to prohibit it again. And therefore, once it becomes the night of Lamed Daled, you're still able to listen to music. But again, when it's going to be, whether it's going to be about weddings or it's going to be cutting your hair, you're only going to do it Lamed Daled, right, in the morning. So that's just going to be very, very important. So this is to do with the Hilulav Rabbi Shimon bar Yochaï and to do with the Simcha. Now, we know that the Hilulav Rabbi Shimon bar Yochaï Lag BaOmer will always come out on Yudchet Iyar, and it will never be on Monday, Wednesday, or Shabbat. It will always be either on a Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday. So he comes and he says, and this all depends upon when is going to be Rosh Chodesh Iyar, according to the different days. And we know also that the same day that Purim falls out, right, which means that this year, when was Purim? Right, we're talking about the Purim in the diaspora, not the Purim in Yerushalayim. We know that the 14th came out on a Thursday. So therefore, it's always going to be the same day as Lag BaOmer, right? That's why they give us siman, peleg, right? Plag HaMincha, right? We pray every single night before and after peleg HaMincha, before Plag HaMincha, which means, right, before and afterwards. So this peleg is Purim Lag, which means that the day of the Purim will always come out the same day as Lag BaOmer. he brings down here that some people have a minhag of going to Meron to pray on the Kever Rashbi, and they go and they start singing and all these different things. He says it has a basis of what to rely on. However, though, he says that you have to be very, very careful that there's going to be with derech HaKedusha v'Tzniut, and it's going to bring to a spiritual awakeness and not the opposite. Because if not, then if there's going to be mixtures and things like that, right, between men and women, then it's better sheva al ta'aseh adif. It's better not to do that. And especially, it would be even better for the people that they're learning Torah that they shouldn't go and break their mizgeret al-limud, but rather because it causes, right, weakness in the learning for everybody else. So rather, he says it's better that we actually stay and we continue with their learning, and that they shouldn't be mivatel in order to go, right, to do that. Here, obviously, I don't think that it's possible for anybody to go to Meron even if they wanted to today because of the traveling, right, and you would have to get a ticket. But besides that, right, again, the concept is that this is supposed to be a very holy day, and therefore we should actually try to use it as a spiritual day to uplift ourselves, right, and not chas shalom to do the opposite.